In this Fossil Keeper devlog, I'll show you the development of the fossil scanning, allowing the player to find and dig up dinosaur fossils at dig sites. Fossil Keeper is my latest game project, where you dig up dinosaur fossils, assemble skeletons and display them in your museum. Check out the Steam page and wishlist if you like what you see. My first task is to make a GPS device that the player can use for multiple purposes when out in the field. My initial idea is that it can be used to perform the fossil scanning, as well as show a map of the area and maybe even a compass. But it'll be open for functionality to be added in the future if need be. Its model is inspired by real GPS devices, including this chunky antenna. Brought into Unity, it's looking pretty good. Maybe not the final design, but it does the job. With the GPS now implemented into the game, it's shaping up nicely, with F to show and hide it, and Q and E to switch tabs. I've made the tabs swipe left and right, and the icons pulse, giving the whole thing a nice animated feel. Very simple but more satisfying than instant transitions. I can show you how the tab swiping works by turning off the GPS screen mask. The tab to switch to is placed to the left or right, and all other tabs are placed out of the way where they cannot be seen. Then a tweening animation just moves the tabs left or right by one space, with the mask clipping out all the tabs that are off the screen. Focusing on the scanner tab first, I made a radial set of indicators that can show you how close you are to a fossil site, as long as you are pointing generally in the right direction. I made it show an exclamation point when close enough, which will indicate that you can dig here. I tossed up between using this method for scanning or showing pings on a map, but I favoured this method simply because it makes the player have to put a bit more effort into searching for fossil spots. For my next iteration, I added status text to the scanner, and spruced up the screen a bit. I'm really wanting the title text to animate when changed, so let's see if I can do that. Well, that wasn't hard, using some coroutine magic. Got the old title being replaced by the new title, character by character, when the tab is changed. Very quick and snappy. To polish the scanner off, I added some sound effects. I'm thinking these may get annoying during gameplay, but I'll have to test it out long term. I'll at least have an option in the settings to turn off the scanner sounds. My next focus is on the compass, which should be quick and simple to implement. My only dilemma at this point is what to spin when you change direction. I could have the cardinal direction spinning, matching the up direction with your forward direction, which I think would be more intuitive. Or have the arrow spinning indicating your forward direction, which is the way that compasses typically work. And here you can see which path I took. Just need to make the direction text rotate to always be upright. Then some final touches, making the spinning a bit floaty instead of immediate, adding a little colour, and changing up the radial circle. That was the easier of the three tabs. Now for what likely will be the hardest, the map. For the map, I'm going to try using a render texture camera that floats above the player. Then the output of that camera is fed to the GPS map screen. I certainly don't want it to show everything on the map though. This isn't going to be a spy satellite map view, so some extra steps are required. Those steps start with placing these magenta boxes around the playable area of the level. These boxes are only visible to the mapping camera above, with its rendering restricted to just the terrain and the boxes. Then a custom shader is used to turn all magenta pixels in the mapping render texture to white, leaving the rest black. Magenta is perfect for this, as the terrain will never be this colour. You can see this working in the GPS map really nicely, showing a simple view of the walkable space. There are many different ways to achieve this effect, but this works best for my case, where there are parts of the terrain that can show and hide based on how the full map is formed. I can now take this base and improve upon it, making it look nicer. As a first pass, I've added edging and a border to the map to help make it look a little less boring, as well as making it rotate with the camera. Next I have given the map a grid, because why not? And now I've restricted the circular border to only show when it's edging the map. Then lastly I've added zoom control, utilising plus and minus on the keyboard. I'm now going to implement being able to actually create digging spots, so the player can finally enter the fossil digging mode, as seen in Devlog 1. Firstly, I've got these flag indicators that show around potential dig sites, once the player has scanned and found them. Then I've made it so the player can interact with them, which creates the dig site and pops up the real flags with a little shake. I added simple sound effects to the reveal, then lastly some particle effects to finish it off. The last thing for me to do now is to activate the digging handler when the player interacts with the revealed dig spot. Here we can finally dig for fossils from the map, tying in all the work I did in Devlog 1 into the actual game. Once returned from digging, I've made this cover show over the dug up digging area to protect it from the wind, and definitely not because I didn't want to have to show the dug ground in the map scene. Well, that's it for the dig site maps for now. and onto fossil prepping and cleaning, which I'm strangely really excited for. Subscribe if you're interested in this game dev journey, and wishlist the game on Steam to show support. I'll see you all next time.